What's up, GG603, owner and operator of TSW Wrestling, back with another hot round of power rankings. Of course, our first big pay-per-view event, 603 Mania Backlash, now in the books, and we got to dive into just what went down. Now, normally, we might kind of double down on some of this info. You know, we break down the whole card and then do the power rankings, but I tell you what, these power rankings kind of break down the card on their own. So, guys, let's dive on into this rankings and see who is number one. Let's get it. I swear, I have the title of the whole intro. What are you talking about? It's a real quick little outside looking in. We'll touch on a couple guys. They happen to be there, but we'll touch on them too. Roy, of course, looking for the trios title. Didn't quite snag that W there. We got Chef, of course, a tough backstage brawl. I was expected to have a trios title match, but seems like he's not done with the conjuration quite yet. And Roldy, great win in the qualifier. Good showing in the chamber, unable to become once again hardcore champion. Little outside looking in, as well as some good buys, some honorable mentions, kind of all rolled into one tight package here. Big time, decent showing against AJ, couldn't quite get the job done. Just to see what's next for big time here in TSW. LBJ, much love, sir. Great showing against me for the Cruiserweight Championship. I have a sneaking suspicion it's not the last time I might see LBJ in the squared circle here, ladies and gentlemen. We got Huggies and Miss JG, of course, worth touching on here, and touching on Jen as well with the post-match attack. Of course, Miss JG Huggies technically does have a contendership, but Jen kind of threw a monkey wrench in those plans. We're going to see how that plays out in the upcoming weeks, ladies and gentlemen. And last but not least, we got to touch on Boxie, of course. Unbelievable promo action, and also Outback apparently kidnapped. There's some controversy there. Who did the deed? Who did the deed? He says AJ. He's like, I didn't fucking do it. So I'm curious to see how this thing plays out here. Where are we going going forward with that? We are going to find out. But also just the good buys off the rankings. Of course, Chef was there, Sap as well. Adam and Luch didn't get the tag titles, and Deekster, not a great showing in the chamber there as well. But as that kind of touches on all the honorable mentions and the goodbyes, let's get into the official rankings here today. And a big shout out to our number 125, Mech. I don't know if you already had it or just made it, and I appreciate that, because we had Boogeyman last week. It was not Mech. It's like a nice little placeholder here, and appreciate you, Mech, looking really good in that chamber, nearly walking out hardcore champion. Was ranked 21, dropped back a couple spots here, but Mech, someone to keep an eye out on going forward in TSW. Someone who, man, impresses every time in the ring. Great in-ring moveset, great charisma. Love me some Mecha Monster, baby. Now at 24, we got Ivy Boy, unranked, coming in at 24. Of course, big backstage brawl there at, we gather, gotta be Wall Street related, certainly. They had a hell of a collection. So many items sprawled across the area there. But of course, the big thing there is Clap, by the way. Clap, great promo as always. He's absolutely electric, but seemingly confirmed, no longer affiliated with Wall Street. It appears though Vibe might be taking that spot, so we're gonna keep an eye out on this situation going forward. I certainly would expect a traditional match in the very near future between those two. Blood feud certainly boiling here. And talking about blood feuds, and talk about a match that Vibe and Clap might just see themselves in at some point here, folks. We're talking Swanee with that big, well, this is a very different Swanee from what we've seen as of late. Of course, Swanee, big win in the underground match, just absolutely battering DJ Scorpio like a corn dog at the state fair, just battering that man. And got to be worried about DJ here, maybe sustaining some injury, but Swanee looked fantastic there in that bounce back. And really, I think that ambulance match, to be fair, I think he arguably could have, should have won that thing. A little bit of bad luck at the end of the reversal animation after he got kicked. DJ got kicked off the roof of that. Unbelievable spot. But Swanee, interesting to see what's up next. I think DJ may be in the rear view for a little bit here, so let's see what Swanee can do here in TSW on his own now. Now at the 22 spot, another guy unranked debut in the rankings here. Stonicus, of course, monster win in that Royal Ramble to get the show started there. Will be qualified for the King of the Ring tournament officially, where we're going to get more bracket, more qualifier information in the next week or so. Only other person we can confirm in there will be King Shed. We'll be defending that crown as well. Of course, it's going to be a multi-round tournament. First round, quarterfinals, semifinals, final. So technically, you know, 4 rounds, depending on how you look at it. But great opportunity for Stonicus there. Great opportunity. Now up at 21, some more unranked back in the rankings. We got Fenton there at 21 and Rocks at 20. Rocks, technically less losses and got the official knockout. But I mean, both these guys really neck and neck here. Put them at the 20 together if I could. I tell you what, I'd love to see that, by the way, in a feature, to be able to rank a tag team or a faction instead of the individual members, that would be fantastic to add. But Rox, Fend finally building some momentum here. You know, some decent showings as of late. Not able to get that little extra push, but we know Rox and Fend going to be taking on Chef and Sap in some form of matchup, a cage potentially this upcoming week. Big opportunities for the congregation. And talk about big opportunities, maybe squandered, but maybe taken from his grasp. Big tumble. Top 5 down to 19. That's just no. We got a lot of people at the top of the rankings right now. If you don't have a title, you good luck. Animal, of course, won the title in some controversy. One could argue eventually was fair and square, but you know, been a lot of complaints with wrestlers and backstage issues. So you know, we're like, all right, we'll give the champion some leeway here. We'll give him the match stipulation, and I should have known better. You give Dargan an inch, he takes a foot, he takes a yard, he takes a mile, and boy did he take us down dirty. We found out officially that Night Owl was indeed the man to attack Animal last week. Dargan growing a little group, little faction, little family here for Dargan. You know, he's got Pad, he's got Night Owl. Some drama afoot here in TSW. Drama afoot. And when we talk about that BMI title, you can't leave out the man who was the best last year in that division. We're talking King Ched. Not only will he be defending the crown, possibly even double duty at King of the Ring, as he's also BMI contender for Dargan. Which this is going to be an interesting scenario here, guys, because certainly have always been associated with one another. But I feel like as of late, there's been a slight separation. I think Trio Ched kind of arguably going towards the light side, while Dargan taking the dark route here. Certainly, Ched fan favorite, wrestler of the year, BMI of the year, truly captures the heart, the soul of the TSW faithful. And this match, little bit personal, little bit professional, 100% ham though. And I cannot wait to see Ched versus Dargan, first time ever matchup here. I cannot wait for that showdown. And now another one of these. I wish I could just bunch them all together, because maybe we'll just make like an avatar for all four, because 4 ranking spots for the trios champ, a little rough. We typically order them about the same order. The defense this week was capped DT2, so we did pop Kopak back a spot there, but they're too good. I don't know, man. I mean, a little bit. We don't have a lot of groups at the moment. But a little bit too of these guys just have a talent, man. They got the moves, they got the grooves, they got the everything, dude. These guys have been fantastic. Shout out to Team America. I mean, we're looking at a good 2 months now with the titles. By the way, we'll do a title recap situation soon, because between the old game, the new game, haven't done a title history in a long time. We have a lot to probably dive into there, so we'll get into one of those soon. But they keep rolling. They keep rolling. Who's going to be next, and who could possibly dethrone America? I got no clue. I got absolutely no clue. Coming in here at 13 spot. This one hurt me, and we talked about, you know, Animal with a tough tumble. Was ranked number 2. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Was he ranked number 1? He might have been. Either way, big tumble here for Tony. Back to 13, unlucky 13. Of course, the Tony title holder, acknowledge it. We'll be facing in a rematch against Yunk this week. Yunk, though, now 8-0. Officially is 8-0. We double-checked the numbers. We looked through all the calendars. That's where we're at. Gonna be a tough show here for Tony. I hope he can pull this thing off for Tony's sake, but Young's a bad daddy, man. That's a bad mother father right there, sir. Real bad. But let's see what Tony's got up his sleeve here going forward. Maybe, just maybe, he can channel that Tony. That Tony energy. The Tone energy. That doesn't work. Moving on. We've got the women's tag champs here, 12 and 11. Technically lost by countout, so I'm going to drop them down a little bit. We'll be facing certainly Huggies and Miss JG, but we have the question about Jen and where she fits into this. I don't know what we got going on there. Possibly a 3-way day. I don't know. We're going to see how that thing plays out, though. Not much to speak on right now, unfortunately. One to speak on. We got Steph. 120 days, 5-time women's champion. Open challenges, defeats Kendra, defeats Miss Hudat, but then Emma. Officially in the full-time women's division here. Massive, massive victory there. Getting the snake bite too, the electric chair, that's vicious too. That's a vicious move. That's a big fall. Congrats to Emma. Tough loss there for Steph. But Steph's in an interesting spot right now. She's gonna have a rematch clause. She's gonna have gold in her future, but we might have something a little different for you, Steph. Now, you're gonna get a piece of Emma soon. Absolutely. But of course, there's this overhanging issue with the Chicos, with Roldy, with Steph. And I think we got to get that thing settled. I think we got to do a tag match here of Mrs. Chico and Chico versus Steph and Roldy. We got to do it. They got to throw down in the ring, fair and square. But there's been rumblings and rumors as of late of a new potential title in TSW. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to officially announce the Intergender Tag Team Championships in TSW. Of course, self-explanatory, one male, one female competitor against the same on the other side of the ring. Could it be real-life partners? Could it be artificial friendships, managerial situations? Absolutely. We're going to see a lot of interesting pairings in the very near future. Intergender tag titles, Steph and Roldy versus Chico and Miss Chico, guys. And we are going to put that on display. Next pay-per-view, King of the Ring. I know, not next week. No, you're going to have to wait for that one, ladies and gentlemen. Cannot wait to see how those tag titles shake out, how the division shakes out, and who maybe squads up here going forward to try to take those belts. Let's keep things going, though. Staying in the 9-hole, we got Joker. Couldn't really move him up or down. Kind of beat the champion, kind of lost the chance. It's a draw, it's a draw. Ring exploded. I mean, to me, I would like to see them keep fighting with a blown-up ring. I get that that's probably not easy to code in the game, but first time ever we've seen that. That was absolutely insane. I was so not prepared for that. A literal explosion. But Joker will challenge Raw again this upcoming week. I think it's probably gonna be Hell in a Cell. I think you can't ring break there, and then there won't be any interferences, which you never know in TSW. Joker and Raw aren't typically, right now, technically paired with anybody, but dastardly individuals would never count out the possibility that they have something up that sleeve. But best of luck, Joker, there. We will be, by the way, back in Cleveland for this matchup. We're staying in town. Staying in town. Speaking of Cleveland, touching Emma Rose real quick. Of course, we don't have Emma in this year's game as female competitor, but we got to head to the belt order for title tracking and rankings and all that good stuff, so I just picked one of the pre-builds. Emma, we talked about in the Steph entry, big debut in the women's division, great win. Not facing Steph immediately, so we're interested to see what Emma gets into the next week or two. As we know, Steph, we're gonna kind of percolate a little bit on that rematch. You know, think back to when JG had the rematch clause and had some other things to deal with, and was like, all right, I'll do the let me deal with the disciples, and then we'll come back to the title. Kind of what we're seeing here with Steph. She's like, let me go deal with the Chicos, and then I'll beat your ass after, and she might very well be champ in TSW. But moving right along in the rankings, of course, unranked, now ranked. Dargan, 12-7 here. Touched on it earlier, touched on it a few times, not much to go to at this point in the rankings, but just to say, this upcoming week, drama's afoot here in TSW. Animal does have his rematch clause, and if Dargan win, lose, or draw, there is no rematch of a rematch of a rematch, so it's kind of the end of the road for these guys. I'm not sure if it's going to be this week or next week. I think it might be one extra week. What might give those guys a chance to rest after the Dargantics rules, and to make sure we have some firm paperwork signed, sealed, delivered, to make sure we don't have that kind of garbage again, to be honest with you. You know, we can't have something that one-sided. It's not fair. You're gonna upset the fans, upset the wrestlers, and frankly, upsets me. Damn you, Dargan. But moving on to the reigning tag champions. They both hop up a couple spots. Finn at 6, Landmark at 5, only because Landmark's had a bit of a bigger history as of late than Finn. Nothing against him, but how about the debut of Blue? As the manager of the Founding Fathers, that was an electric moment, I think really caught some people off guard. And talk about a dominant tag team that might have just gotten even more dominant. Made relatively short work of Team Canada, and I gotta say, I don't know what besides a literal force of nature could possibly stop Landmark and Finn. Luckily, though, someone who might have a piece of, or could take a piece of him. He's a little bit more busy right now. We're talking Yunk here, reigning hardcore champion, 8-0, big chamber win. It did come in at the back half. That did benefit him certainly, but a big win nonetheless for big Yunk here. Number 4 on the rankings, big spot here. I mean, he doesn't jump up that much. Jumps up a good 9 spots, 5, 6, yeah, 6, 7, 8, yeah, 9 spots. Quick math. But I love what I've seen from Yunk, man. He has been electric in the ring, fantastic outside the ring, and is a guy who, he's on a win streak. I don't know who's going to stop this man. Outside of an act of nature, like a gauntlet or a Royal Rumble, I don't know. You give this man a one-on-one, I think he's got him. Tony, good luck this week and Godspeed. Now the top 3, controversy potentially, but to me, I think this is exactly how these should be, unless you think Yunk maybe could be higher landmark or Finn. We're going to go AJ right here, of course, reigning, defending 2-time Dargantics Universal Champion. Big win over big time inside the 203 Falls Hell in a Cell. AJ doesn't really have his next rivalry lined up, but he has been a little bit kind of called out, questioned. So I'm interested to see how that plays out here going forward, but I know for sure right now, AJ's sitting pretty here in TSW, folks. Now the top 2. You know who's left, and it's an obvious 2 because I can't. It's gotta be, yeah. So JG's gonna be here at the 2 spot. Reigning defending Cruiserweight champion. Great ladder match wins here as of late. I tell you what, AJ was close to the JG pass up, but then you had to take into account how you won the title, recent, man, I tell you, I think JG's on a heater right now, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's been a good title reign. We've been a fighting champion. And we're gonna keep that up. This week, if you want some, come get some. Open challenge, Cruiserweight Championship on the line. Step up, baby, and come and get it. But of course, that means number 1, who else but Raw Dog? Nothing really to touch on. He has been dominant. Rumble winner, 3-time tag champion. Starting to stack this title reign to get towards the record books. He's got Joker right now. That's paramount. But we don't know what's next, whether Joker or Raw walks out. We don't know what's next here in the heavyweight title picture, which I tell you what, in TSW makes things ever so interesting. Well, guys, that's all we had for you today. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, notification bell ding activated, all that good stuff. And I'll catch you next time. Y'all been the best, y'all been too sweet.